Book time. Find your purple workbook, and here we go. We're gonna crack it open, and today we're looking for page 154. 154, and it should say main idea and details with amazing bird nests in the corner. It should look like this, pan out shot. Once again, 154, main idea and details. So today it's all about finding the main idea and details. So here's a crash course example before we get to today's story. I'm going to give you guys 3 details. Then I want you to guess what the main idea is, what the story is about. All right. So detail 1: Mr. Croft enjoyed a funnel cake and some sweet water ice. Detail 2: Mr. Croft went on the Ferris wheel, a mini roller coaster, and some bumper cars. Detail 3: Mr. Croft played many games. He won a stuffed animal. He won a t-shirt. He won a couple boxes of candy. All right, so what the story is all about. Could you guys guess where I was based on those 3 details? I was at, anybody say carnival? So my main idea sentence would be, Mr. Croft had a great time at a carnival. And my details back that up, right? He had a funnel cake and water ice. He went on a Ferris wheel and mini roller coaster, some bumper cars. He also played some games and won a stuffed, teddy bear. So that's the direction we're headed. So again, we're going to do main idea and details, and here's a closer look. The main idea answers the question, what is the story all about? In that case, Mr. Croft went to the carnival. Details are small pieces of information to help tell what the story is about, right? Mr. Croft went to the carnival, and I told you what the story was about. He had a water ice and funnel cake, he rides, played some games. Right? So all 3 details back up the main idea. Okay, so we're going to play again. I'm going to read this story to you guys. We're going to have to pick out 3 details and then make a conclusion of what the main idea of the story. What do you think the main idea was of the story? So here we go. Directions: read the following passage. All right, here we go. And here, I'll do this so you guys could follow along. There we go. John went into the woods on a snowy day, and his boots made tracks where he walked. I could follow my tracks back out, thought John, so he didn't pay attention to where he was going. Uh-oh. But the sun came out and melted the snow. And when John wanted to leave, he couldn't see any tracks. Then John saw an eagle overhead. "Eagle," said John, "please help me find my way out." The eagle flew south, then west. John followed until he was out of the woods. Man, thank goodness for that eagle, right, you guys? All right, so details. Directions: complete the graphic organizer to tell what the story is all about. So details. So we need 3 things that happen in the story. So what was the first thing that kind of happened? So we know our main character's name is John. So what was John going to do? Well, John was going for a walk in the woods, right? It was a snowy day. His boots made tracks where he walked. And his idea was, I could follow my tracks back out, thought John. So he didn't pay attention to where he was going. So I believe that's going to be our first detail. So basically the idea is John was going to follow his tracks out, right? Because he could follow them in the snow. Okay, so detail 1. So they don't give you a lot of room, do they? So we're going to have to write kind of small here. John was going to follow his tracks out. John was, maybe I could try to get 2 words in here. 2 words would probably be the limit there, right? John was going to follow his tracks. TRACKS, tracks out. Out of the woods. Could you guys think we could squeeze that in there? Out of the woods? What do you think? Out of the woods. So detail 1, John was going to follow his tracks out of the woods, right? That was his plan. So then something happened that that derailed John from that plan. You guys remember what happened? Why couldn't John follow his tracks out of the woods? Let's go back to the story. Let's see. But the sun came out and melted the snow. And when John wanted to leave, he couldn't see any tracks. Oh, no. So detail 2, the sun. The sun melted tracks. Maybe we could say the sun melted his tracks, right? Oh, I'm going to run out of room. No! Okay, the sun melted his tracks. I'm going to go with the plus sign. Plus, John was lost. John was lost. So John was going to follow his tracks out of the woods, but since the sun melted, the snow melted his tracks, he didn't know which way to turn now. So John was lost. All right, brings us to detail 3. So what saved the day? Do you remember how John was able to get out of the woods? Let's go back in the story. Let's see. Then John saw an eagle overhead. Eagle said, John, please help me find my way out. The eagle flew south, then west. John followed until he was out of the woods. So detail 3, basically what? An eagle helped John, right? Get out of the woods. Detail 3. An eagle, not a eagle, an eagle. Because I have to use an when the next word begins with a vowel. So A, E, I, O, U words get the an treatment. An eagle helped John leave the woods. An eagle helped John leave the woods. Everybody good there? Okay, so based on these 3 details, we need to come up with what this story is all about. John was going to follow his tracks out of the woods. The sun melted his tracks and John was lost. An eagle helped John leave the woods. So if somebody walked into the room and said, oh man, I missed the story. What was the story about? What would you say? This guy John needed help from an eagle after he got lost. So, yeah, I mean, basically, what this story is all about. Character named John became lost in the woods, and he needed the eagle to get out of the woods, right? All right, so John. So we're going to start with John, capital J. John needed So we got John needed help from an eagle. John needed help from an eagle after he became lost in the woods. Page is messing me up here. Became, B-E-C-A-M-E. So once again, John needed help from an eagle after he became lost in the woods. In the woods. Right? Main idea. Main idea of the story is about. All right, you guys. So I might ask you a question about this page for a little follow-up, so be on the lookout for that.